Good morning, everybody. Fiona Pearman and Kate Bora. And what we're wanting to do this month is set you up really well for 2025. And we've been thinking about what's important to get what we'd like to get done to achieve the goals. And one of the big pieces we know is about managing capacity and being willing to set, but more importantly, enforce boundaries. And so as we head into what can be a very busy time of the year, just thinking about and reflecting on what's 2024 been like for me? How am I ending this year? Do I have lots of energy? Am I excited about 2025? Or am I feeling depleted and limping to the finish line, overexhausted, maybe overcommitted?
Yeah, I think it's been a big year in many ways for people. And so I think the key is not to judge um, whatever is going on for you. I think it's useful, though, to use the opportunity. And I think this time of year, you can't help but start to reflect on, um, what's worked well or what you're proud of. But equally, starting to have the really good conversation with yourself around what is it that you want to be different in 2025? What is it that you're letting go of, or what is it you're saying no to? And I think that second question is really critical because the clarity around what it is that you want, the choices you're willing to make, and the actions you're willing to take, right? And the rubber hits the road on the action taking. Um, that's the critical piece in terms of really setting ourselves up so that when we walk into the new year, and I love new year because it's a fresh page. It's a new start. It creates, in many ways, a false fresh start. But it does allow us to reset, to recalibrate. And so creating some space, whether it's dedicated time or whether it's while you're walking or commuting or any of those sorts of things, to be able to think about what needs to be different. I think there's also good opportunities, though, in the next couple of weeks to say no to some things, to say not now, let's do that in January or February, because there is a momentum and often a pressure that comes that many of us feel like we need to say yes. And so it is a really good opportunity to start to practice saying no and enforcing some of those boundaries.
I think the piece that we'd offer here is to become really conscious, become conscious of your capacity. And we know that managing energy is very important. So let's think about what it is that I need to do to create sustainable progress over the longer term. There's always going to be too much to do. There's always going to be, one of the wonderful things about our world is tons of opportunities, endless opportunities, really. And so getting very judicious and discerning about what, even though I might like to do everything, what I'm willing to say no to for now. Doesn't have to be no forever, but what am I willing to say no to? Because that piece is incredibly important. And we know in our Acts of Confidence program, we dig deep on this. Our first module is all around clarity. And clarity means that I am going to have to choose. I'm going to have to choose some things are more important to me now, and I'm going to prioritize those. And some things are less important. And they're going to go on the back burner or they're going to be for not now. And that willingness to choose, which can be really hard, it can feel a little bit painful, but being willing to choose is super important because otherwise we do tend to take on too much and that has a whole lot of consequences too. So understanding and being really conscious of choices.
We say in the program, there's work to be done for clarity. A lot of people falsely believe, I should just know what I want. There's processes, there's tools to help you get clear. That's one of the critical pieces we talk about every week, right? Is the power of clarity. Equally, it's critical to get clear about what's stopping you, what's getting in the way, which is why active compass number 5, redefining your relationship with fear and failure, is so critical. And the lessons that you have in the process of saying no, in the process of enforcing a boundary. We often say a boundary is useless if it has a hole in it, if we're not willing to enforce it. And the hard piece comes when we have to enforce it, which often requires us to say no. And so being able to develop our awareness around what is going on for us in all of these situations that might be tricky, that may feel really uncomfortable, feel like we're out of alignment, we're doing things, we're saying things that are not in alignment with who I am and what I want. That's very much the genesis of our work. And I think as we start to move forward, this is a really beautiful, I call it an incubation period, where I'm in reflection mode. I'm in rumination mode. I'm thinking about, I'm making decisions, I'm making plans, I'm putting some plans in place, whether that's, who's going to be on my team, what I'm learning, what I need to off ramp because it's not going to be part of my world next year, and the conversations that I need to have in order to make that happen. All of those things. It doesn't all have to happen now, but I know for me, the ability to be able to do that so that when I hit that fresh page on the 1st of January, I'm really clear, I'm clean, and I'm able to really focus on taking action and moving forward.
So really just thinking about what it is, what you would love 2025 to be like, what you're aiming for, and even just having that piece of clarity will automatically start you thinking down the path of what you're going to say yes to, and just as importantly, what you're going to say no to, and potentially how you're going to need to shift some things internally in order to be able to enforce those boundaries, because that's the hard part. Is we can set a boundary, but how do we go about enforcing it, which we're going to dig into over the next couple of weeks. Look, we're going to leave it there. If you've got a question or comment on this big topic, please do that below, and follow us for more of these Facebook Lives. If you know anyone who'd benefit, please tag them as well in the comments. We've also got hundreds of videos related and to support you over on YouTube. And when you're ready to go deeper with your relationship with confidence, go to our website, coreconfidence.com.au.